the same guy that he's always playing against the same guy. Is like the only really good player he has access to. Okay, yeah. Okay, so already. Fine, let me get back here. Okay, so really important is that like you keep an active mind whenever you're choosing actions in the game, right? So the thing about Dragon Ball is that a lot of the way that the game is structured and kind of the way that the game is designed, they like tell you to do certain things and kind of like autopilot, and those autopilot options can get you in like a lot of trouble if you're not really careful. So like for example here, he goes for since I have a pressure, right? It's the last assist he has available. You reflect, you call assist. Okay, but you run forward, he reflects the assist, right? Meaning that he's completely actionable. He's not locked down or anything like that. And so you autopilot, you go for 5M, which you don't get punished for, it's fine, he commits to backdash. But the problem is afterwards. So after you whiff, you call Vegito, right? And once again, you try to start running forward again, but he challenges with super dash and he ends up getting the hit. So you just really want to make sure that no matter what is happening in the game, you need to look at your opponent's character, right? So that you're ready to you know, block or anti-air in the situation. And that's like one of the really strong things about Vegito is it kind of like has this dynamic where people want to super dash it, and so like you can use that to your advantage. You just have to make sure that you're, you know, keeping an open mind and paying attention to your opponent's character whenever you call it. After you start like 2Hing people for choosing super dashes like that, like they'll start treating that assist way differently, and that opens up a lot of other opportunities for you. Probably hit your jump start up, I'm guessing. Take a look. Yeah. Yeah. Need to get this character out though. Yeah, this is rough. Yeah, okay. So keep in mind that in situations like this, your number one focus should be preserving the team and keeping your character safe. So like when you get this hit, your thought should be, okay, how do I get him out? Not how do I hit my opponent again? Because here it's really awkward because you don't get a knockdown anymore, right? This is a soft knockdown, which means your opponent has the maximum amount of tech options that they can possibly have. And so this would be considered an overextension, you going for the Rekka afterwards, because now you put yourself in like scramble territory. You know, he mash assists, you're both just pressing the assist, hoping to get the hit here, but there's nothing consistent. It's just a scramble. No one has advantage here. You're both just pressing your assist and hoping that it does the work for you. But your opponent is an advantage here because they have 2 assists and you only have 1, right? If you had Vegito in this situation, it would be different, but you don't. And so like this scramble is not one that you really want to take given the situation, right? You're like trying to get the hit, you go for the command grab, he jumps, get the punish, and now your character is dead, right? When you could have spent that assist that you spent, you could have spent on tagging instead. And even if it gets anti-aired, your opponent has to spend resources to snap you back in. Most people are not even going to opt to do that. They're just going to take the hit and the knockdown, but you would rather take that hit and take that knockdown on a full health character than lose your Gogeta for it, right? So so I can tell you, like when you're playing when you're playing Ki Blast assists, right, staying grounded is really important. And I'm not saying you always have to stay grounded, but you got to think about the situation that you got hit last time, right? You tried to approach behind Vegito assist, and he super dashed and he got the hit, right? You have more options to answer things like that if you're on the ground. You have 2H. 21 also has 2 and 4S, which is frame 4, invulnerable, stuff like that, right? If you take to the air, your options to deal with super dash are limited. You either have to press a super preemptive button, like a super preemptive JM, to knock him out of the super dash before it actually like gets going, or you can opt to just air block it if you want, but you don't really want to air block the super dash at this point because he has like Vegito assist, so he could put you in a situation where you get jailed to the ground, or maybe he calls Kefla or whatever. So staying grounded is a little bit better for approaches like this, and if you're gonna press the JM, you need to press it a little bit earlier just in case he does super dash. But yeah. Okay. No. So the thing about her is that she doesn't have to rely on things like this in order to get hits, because you're gonna win the patient game, right? Like 1v1, like the character matchup of 21 versus UI, she smokes him, like absolutely smokes him. And so like you don't have to bet it on like dives in neutral like this, right? Because like you don't even have an assist to cover you yet. Like you see Vegito's not off cooldown yet, and so like this is actually just a punish. Like a lot of UIs are just ready to press 5L at any time anyway, so like this is straight up punish for him. So you don't have to like bet it on things like that. You can just kind of play patient and wait for him to overextend, because he has to be the aggressor against her, because her long range is much better than his. It looks like you're reflecting quite a lot on defense as well. We'll see if that continues. You got mixed. Just fucking reinstall Windows, factory reset your PC, bro. At this point, like, everyone's got to be tired of hearing about this. Nice. The Forbidden Reflects can't do that. You should take the level 3 with her. Okay. Press the level 3, trust me. I don't know if that was a missed input. Somehow this worked out for you. This should not have worked out for you, but just level 3 him next time. Like I said, I don't know if that was a missed input or whatever. Going for this mix, you need to press JM instead of JL. JL's hitbox is not like that good for stuff like this. The 2M hits him though, which is pretty nice, but that's not always gonna happen. So most of the time they'll sneak into the dead zone of the move, and then you just get hit, and then you feel bad. So okay. So don't spend the steal here, right? So like you unless you're against the Saiyan character, unless you're against a yellow steel character and you're level 3ing them to get them back, you shouldn't be spending this in combos, because like this is like one of the strongest moves in the game, and the damage that you get from it in this case is negligible. Like it doesn't change your breakpoint, it doesn't like help you squeeze out a kill. It does do a lot of damage at the end of combos and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter here, right? Because he has sparking, and it's not gonna kill him anyway. So don't spend this unless you're gonna get it back. This tool is like really strong to have in the neutral. It pretty much shuts down every air approach. So you don't need to do that. You can just do 236F, and then it still lets you choose left or right, and then you can level 3 him at the end of it and then be fine. Yeah, like take the level 3 with 21 as well. Like anytime that you get the chance to level 3 someone with 21, just do it. Like trust me when I say that. Like it is so much better. It's so much better than Vegito level 3. Like it just is, because you don't have to spend the extra bar, right? You actually don't even have that meter to spend the vanish for Oki, and it also safe jumps if UI wants to do like special tech or 22S. It's safe against all that stuff. So just do the 21 level 3, right? Just take the fucked up mix, right? Don't overcomplicate things. Okay, yeah. This is fortunate for you. You have him trapped in the closet. He had really bad assist call management here. He dropped his punish, and then like he just calls his assist pretty much willy nilly. He doesn't get anything out of these assists, and now he can't tag. He has no assist left. And so that works out for you. I'm pretty sure you tried to grab, but your character didn't turn around. Or it did turn around and you didn't expect it to. Yeah. You didn't. That's pretty funny. Yeah. He does off cooldown. Okay, you just play it safe and wait to see. But keep in mind, like when you're doing pressure, so like right now your pressure is very like it's very like broken. Like broken up, I mean, not like broken as in strong. Broken as in like it's not cohesive right now. And I think part of the reason is because you're running key blast assist and you just kind of want to play safe because you guys super dashed last time. But do keep in mind that like if you're gonna use the assist to like pressure, you can do conventional block strings and then call the assist at the end, and that still forces the same situation of like, oh, is he gonna super dash at me afterwards, and if he doesn't, then I get the pressure reset. You don't have to like, you know, bet on just like stagger button assist. Like you don't have to rely on only that. You can still mix up your pressure even with the key blast assist. Let's see. Yeah. Held the cap flushes. You can still reflect there because his opener was 2 to success, which is key blast property. So you can always reflect and assist if he starts his pressure that way or chooses that option in neutral. You're gonna live though. Yep. That's not a true meaty, like that can be 2H, but it's you know, it's a check to see if you're awake. Take a punish on his part. So keep in mind that you have 6 bars. So if you ever get a block string like this, right, you can 2L vanish jail, and then you can try to go for like left right out of it, at least to test to see if he's gonna sit there and block for it, you know. But like continuing to do this stuff over and over again is like not in your benefit, because like this type of stuff is not gonna hit people all that often. Right, like you could have 2L'd there, pulled them out of the corner. This vanish is not great though. You got to hit confirm this move. This is like one of the moves in the game that like it's really good, but like you have to hit confirm it, because since it's key blast property, if you don't hit confirm it, then you end up getting reflected no matter what and like punish really fucking hard. So the best advice I can give is, like when you throw this move, you kind of want to keep your opponent's health bar in your peripheral vision. And if it turns red, then you know to vanish. And if it doesn't turn red, then you don't vanish. You can practice that in training mode as well. You can set the CPU to guard random, and then practice hit confirming it. You're still alive. Get one more chance here. Oh. What did you choose here? EX? Yeah. EX legs. I don't know if grab would have got there before the key blast came out, or key blasted pretty fast. But I will say that like you should have played this a little bit more patient, just because if you look at the approach, he had no double jump. And so like you know that no matter what option he chooses, he's gonna be forced to land afterwards. So you can kind of wait to see what he's gonna choose, right? He air dashes forward and then super dashes, meaning he has no double jump. So he can't air dash after, he can't double jump backwards. So like no matter what, after this option that he chooses post super dash, he's forced to land. And Kefla also has no air level 3, so you could let him key blast you and then literally cancel, guard cancel into super dash, and the game's over, right? Depends on round start here. Oh, that was like the most awkward stare down ever. Can't do that. No. One of the reasons sparking is so strong. You cannot vanish on vanish here. So the best thing that you can do to prevent this situation from happening is when your opponent sparkings, don't press into it. You got to keep in mind that sparking is 0 on block. So there's actually 0 reason for you to press into it, given that they have a frame 4 invulnerable move that can punish pretty much anything that you do. So like, don't press into it. If you're gonna press anything in this situation, it should be like Vegito assist. But that's it. Like, you don't want to press an actual button into this, because exactly what happened can happen to you, right? They can either punish it on whiff with empty vanish, or you can try to panic vanish to avoid being punished, and you get punished either way, right? So you just have to not press into it or spark back in that situation. Okay, I'm gonna bust out the whiteboard. Okay, his team. You find yourself in a very unique situation. Doesn't happen very often. What's up, cool kid? This doesn't happen very often, and so I think it's important. It's important to talk about this. So, like, if we look at his team, right? Under normal circumstances, if someone was playing this team, it would be pretty hard to play dead zones, because Vegito assist in a lot of ways kind of like neutralizes the idea of like there being a dead zone on the screen. It just covers a lot, right? So it's hard to maneuver against his assist. However, he's not playing Vegito A here, he's playing Vegito B, and so like his team has very clear dead zones in the neutral game. So he can call Kefla to cover horizontals, right? But he's playing Vegito B, which means he has a short range horizontal assist as well, which means there's redundancy here. So he has nothing to cover up here, right? He has nothing to cover diagonals, because like his character can shoot beams diagonal this way. He can this is really slow, like he can do JS if he really wants to, but this is really slow and also has a ton of dead zones. So if he commits to this, there's a lot of room, like you can like dash underneath. and kind of work your way into the dead zone. But under normal circumstances in neutral, right, he cannot cover like top corner of the screen. Like you just can't make contact with you quickly. Like there's nothing he can do quickly to force you to the ground from diagonal. So in the neutral, right, whenever you're playing against team dynamics like this, where there's very clearly a spot on the screen they're having trouble covering, you should put yourself there more often. And so that means that you should be relying more on like super jumps and jump Vegito assist, right, would be very strong, because you put yourself in the dead zone, you call Vegito, and then you can kind of just wait to see what happens. Sometimes you will get a free hit out of it, but most of the time, like it's gonna either stop one of its assists from coming out, or it's just gonna open up the screen for you to be able to move forward against. And like these are the types of things that you want to be thinking about, like when you start games against people. You want to think about, like, is there anywhere on the screen that they have trouble getting, and then focus in the neutral on putting yourself there and then seeing how they respond, because you got to keep in mind that once you establish a space on the screen that your opponent's team has hard time covering, right, they might have to switch up their game plan, as in they might have to rely more on system mechanics. They might play more aggressive because they're tired of calling their assist from full screen and having them do nothing for them. And so we force your opponent to stop autopiloting. And the moment you force your opponent to stop autopiloting, they have to actually play the video game. And when they play the video game, people make mistakes. They make really, really big mistakes. We can capitalize on those mistakes. So you should think about that moving forward. So every team in the game has something to the degree of what I'm talking about, right? Every team in the game, pretty much no matter what, how strong, has a part of the screen that is harder to cover than others, right? Some teams it's more severe than others, and you know, sometimes people are running teams that have like very like a ton of coverage in neutral, but most of the time if they have a ton of coverage in neutral, they're going to sacrifice something for, like, maybe their pressure structures are not as good, or maybe, you know, they're running 2 key blast assists, and so you always have like GC super dash and GC reflect to rely upon, right? Really want to think about this whenever you're in games, and it's something that will come up time and time again. So the amount of situations that you get hit by UI's assists, like while you're playing 21, should not be, this should not be a common situation. You're hesitating a lot on his pressure as well. It seems like you're like noticing late that, like, okay, the pressure is over, so I'm gonna try to escape, and so you're getting hit on your jump start up a lot. And so, like, the best advice I can offer is when you're playing against an opponent that has no assist available, right? Because he has nothing here. I don't know why my whiteboard did that. That's what's up. So you can see he has no assist available up here. Be more decisive, right? And decisive. Decisive is sometimes conflated with, like, people think when I say be decisive, they mean like just like choose YOLO options over and over again. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, no matter what option you choose, like whether you're gonna press a button or you're gonna jump or you're gonna tag or you're gonna call assist, right? Just be decisive. Like, don't hesitate, because hesitation opens doors of opportunities. Doors of opportunity that your opponent wouldn't previously have. So, like, if you chose to jump immediately after you felt like the pressure was over, right, there's no way that you get hit by this. He actually just whiffs 5M underneath you. You might even be able to get a punish. You might be able to call assist and pressure him that way, right? But because you choose your option so slow, the option itself, like, rarely matters. Like, if you're choosing your option super slow, the option itself doesn't matter as much. Because the chances of your opponent still being in the situation that you crafted the answer for is very low, right? If my opponent does an unsafe string and I hesitate on taking my turn back or escaping, right, they might string reset on me, and by the time I've chosen my option to deal with that original string reset, I might already be getting hit, or I might, you know, they might have already stolen the turn. And so that's why it's important to be decisive in situations like this. There are a ton of situations where, like, making fast decisions can win situations alone, like even if the decision itself is not the best. The speed of which the decisions are made kind of can win out. It depends on like what type of player you are, for sure. I would say, like, if you want an example of what I'm saying, like I would look at Coach Steve. I would look at Coach Steve's gameplay. Coach Steve did not make the best decisions, but he makes all of his decisions very quickly. And so, like, even though they're not the best decisions, he can still he can still win out on a majority of situations off the speed of the decisions alone. He's just quicker minded than his opponent, and so like his opponent doesn't have time to process what is happening, and by the time they do, they're already getting hit. And that comes from, you know, his background in Marvel. And in Marvel, you have to make extremely quick decisions. There's no choice. You should just lose. You're getting cooked by that. Yeah, we'll do one more game. Yep, there's that same situation I was talking about last time. Seems like you're very afraid to spark your first character too, which is not great. You should definitely consider sparking to save your first character. Level 1 spark is really strong. No, he really just did the same exact block string 3 times. You have guard cancel available here too. 7 bars. Nah, would have really liked for you to tag there instead of call assist. Need some health management work. Okay. Yeah, there's a few general things, right? I think your health management needs some work. You need to focus more on keeping the team together rather than, you know, getting the hit in like situations where your character is 1 hit from dying. I think you need to think more about what defensive mechanics you can use when you're being pressured by your opponent as well. Blocking and reflecting are not the only two options you have, but those are the two options that you chose pretty much exclusively. You have guard cancel, vanish, raw tag. You know, you have, you know, anti-air property moves on your characters. You have a ton of things available. So don't tunnel vision on either block or reflect, or else you're screwed. You got put into a lot of those situations. And going hand in hand with that, think about how your opponent is running their block strings. A lot of people autopilot their block strings and they do the same ones over and over again. And so it should be really easy for you to notice, like, oh, he's doing, you know, this string a ton, and then crafting an answer to it. Because pretty much every string in the game has a weakness now. With the addition of guard cancel vanish, every string in the game like has some weakness. They're weak to some defensive mechanic. Like if it's really strong anti-reflect, then a lot of the time it's not going to be good against GT Vanish, stuff like that. But above all, right, if you feel like a character is pressured, and you know it is a situation where they're one hit from death, don't be afraid to spend that sparking to save the character, because you get a ton of advantage for pressing sparking in general. And if you're not sure what I mean by that, make sure you watch my sparking video on YouTube. But you actually can flip the game on its head a lot of the time by pressing sparking, because it is really just that strong. And so you shouldn't be afraid to press it, even if it's on their first character. Like really, honestly, level 1 spark is the strongest of all the sparking, like easily, because what happens is you press sparking, your assist cooldown like pretty much immediately, and so you get 2 50/50s out of it if your opponent does not spark back. Level 1 sparking is insanely strong, so don't be afraid to spend it. You should work a little bit more on your consistent SKD Oki. Make sure that what you're doing is meaty, and that, you know, it counters the very common answers in the game. You know, reflect, 2H, you know, covers the tech options, right? Go back to the lab, make sure that you cover all those very, very common options, just to make sure you have a baseline for your pressure, and that you're not getting, you know, hit for running your Oki, right? Because that's the worst feeling. You should think about your pressure is kind of like one-dimensional right now, and so you should think more about creative ways to, you know, kind of throw your opponent out of their defensive comfort zone, right? And so like what I noted before was on Vegito, right? You could just 2L vanish, which jails, and now they're not in the corner, so now they have to worry about, you know, is it going to be same side sword? Is it going to be cross up GH, right? And like sometimes your opponent is probably going to just like jump out or something like that, right? But you still pressure your opponent by, you know, creating the situation where they can be mixed, right? Creating the situation where they can be mixed is still good pressure in those situations, because you might be able to force out a defensive option for your opponent that was, you know, completely unwarranted, or just out of fear, and you might get a free hit in a situation like that. And so creating the situation where they potentially can be hit is still very, very, very strong. Think about where you want to put yourself on the screen. Talked about that in neutral, right? Think about your opponent's assists, where they can cover, kind of put yourself in the space that they have the hardest time covering. And don't be afraid, right? Don't be afraid against Vegito to test people, right? Because he's playing Vegito and he's throwing 2-3 success at you over and over and over again. And I don't think even a single time you tested him with Super Dash to see if he was ready to answer afterwards. Yes, you can cancel into level 3 and shit like that, but he still has to be ready for that situation, right? He has to be ready to punish. He has to be ready to level 3 you. And if he's not, then you get a free hit. So don't give him respect where it's not earned. If you play a set with him and he's consistently level 3ing you for super dashing through success, that's one thing. But until he shows you, yes, I'm ready for this, like most of the time that you're gonna do it, you do want to test him and make sure that he's on his toes. Otherwise, you know, windows of opportunity that were there for you are just kind of, you're not taking advantage of them. You're giving respect where not earned. So those are all things that I would like you to think about moving forward. Wasn't a bad showing for me. Wasn't a bad showing. Okay, this is from Snake Senpai. Oh, we got offlines. It's like that. All right. This camera box is mad big. Like, am I the only one that... Guys? This camera box is mad big. Holy shit. What is happening? Drop. Okay. Yep. A little bit of a mess up there. But the idea is correct, which is kind of the more important in the field to the ground. Your JH just doesn't come out here. You gotta go a little bit faster. So like after the initial sparking mix-up doesn't work, don't feel like you have to like do something crazy to open them up from there on, right? So like if you get this string reset here, what you do, you respect your string, right? Just run the same side sword or cross up JH again behind Broly assist. There's no reason to hesitate here. You could also do like an empty vanish mix up as well, right? You could do assist empty vanish and then the same thing, cross up or same side. So don't feel like you have to mix it up in this situation, because like the mix that you get from this scenario in the first place is just really potent and really strong. So just transition into that quick. Like you don't have to go for 6M. Okay. Don't think you had to spend EX there. It was kind of close, but I don't think you had to. Yeah, you definitely would have made it to the corner with M legs. Yeah, and so this is why it's important to like actually do like a safe jump, right? So like you go for, it looks like you go for like some type of like fake high here. Oh no, you just land and do nothing and then try 2M'ing him. This is not good SKD Oki, because it just doesn't cover that many things. And so like you want to keep it more consistent. You want to keep it meaty, especially in the tournament setting. Meaties win tournament matches, trust me. Knocking your opponent down and then just beating their wake up is gonna be better in like probably 90% of situations. It works out there for you because he up techs and then presses JS for whatever reason. You get a 2H, but still doesn't die. Got a tag, yep. Tag off. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Whoa, sir. Yeah, so what happens is the raw tag makes contact and you press 5M and you whiff. And then you mash 2H afterwards. This is you're playing too antsy, right? It's okay for you to try to get your turn back after like a blocked raw tag or a blocked super dash or something like that, but if that hit does not work out, like if you don't actually get anything from it, don't like overcommit. This is an overextension. This is you saying, okay, I want a 5M to get pressure started. Oh shit, it didn't hit, so I'm gonna mash 2H. Oh shit, that didn't hit, so now I have to panic vanish and potentially give my opponent a free punish. This is a fat 2H punish. If he was just a little bit faster, I think he got counter hit trying to do it. But you should never be putting yourself in that situation in the first place. Yep. Full character for it. Seems like you're having a little bit of a tendency to scramble, kind of overextend. We'll talk about that a little bit at the end. Whoa, that was close. Could have got a punish there. Dash forward from him. You're pressing a lot of buttons in the mid range right now. I can tell like you're playing with a lot of like super like you're on edge, like at 2L after getting hit there. Not really what you want to be going for. This is good. Yeah, I mean that worked out somehow, but you don't have a grab anymore though, so you gotta keep that in mind. Down. Level 3 him here. So like, there's no reason for you to try to extend with assist here because like your starter was already EX, and this is the perfect situation for you to just do GH level 3. And then you have GT assist for the Oki afterwards, right? That's better than spending GT for a knockdown that you're gonna get that's not gonna be any better than a level 3 knockdown, and then playing the situation afterwards. So just level 3 him here, and then you know he has sparking as well, so having the assist for the sparking scramble is gonna be better. Probably gonna test you sometime soon. You're committing to like full key blast strings like pretty much every time. So eventually I think he's gonna challenge you with super dash. -9, yeah. Yep, didn't respect the C assist. Okay. Oh, he should have gone into Kaioken there. Catches you wiggling. Alright, game 2. No, I don't use paper space. I use AWS. Awkward to assist. Him. Whoa, quality went crazy here. Hello? What happened? My pixels. What? What is transpired here? Where'd the frame rate go? That was weird. Perfect opportunity to give Vegito up. Whoa. Relying a little bit too heavily on the mechanics, I'm noticing. A hard tech. The Snake Senpai. Okay. Oops. Quality is going absolutely crazy. Internet might not be great at the venue that they're playing at. Snake Senpai is a long-time sub. He's a year and a halfer. All consecutive too. Okay. Scramble. You have no assist here though, so you want to be really careful. Yeah. So this is what I mean by like. So what type of pressure or what type of offense you go for? Scumrat with the sub badge upgrade, 6 months. Bro. But what type of pressure you go for? It depends on the resources of your opponent. So here, like, you have no assist, right? So you try to vanish in, and so like for him, since you don't have any assist to cover anything, him going for EX elbow here is a very good decision. It's because like he has an assist to cover him, you don't have one to cover you. He has invulnerability. You would have to hard call it out in order to get a punish here. So you want to be very, very careful about pressuring characters that have strong reversals in situations like that.
Horton, he did ride.
Avenge with the gift to Anders. Thank you, bro.
Froggy when Horton, he did ride.
Appreciate you. Next sub goal is in 10 subs, guys, for SpongeBob Season 4. Slowly creeping up on the 500 club again. Wow. That's pretty funny. Yeah. Who's your starter here? You consider spending the extra meter to put your opponent back in the corner here. I do think it's worth it. Because it's just way harder to cover text mid-screen, which is what happened there. You had trouble covering the text, and so it let him wiggle, and he got a hit on your Oki. You already took your sub money days ago. I mean, you just didn't pop your notification, I don't think. There's also a grace period with subbing, like a 3-day grace period or something. Having a ton of trouble covering up tech this set. A little bit of warrior drop. Nice. He did. Easy. Where are you from that you're playing 3 out of 5s this early in the event? Unless this is like, let's say like stay live for casuals after and this is the end or something. Or just be casual sets. It says it was tournament though, so. The super dash, looks like.
When courting, he did ride Crambo.
Patrick with the gift.
Froggy when courting, he did ride Crambo.
Reaper 1309. Welcome to the Legion circuit. Alright, let's look back to see what's going on here. Okay. It was a system setup, it just didn't hold down back. Okay, kind of drop your route here. Thanks. Drops. They also didn't change the score whenever you won that last game. Haha. Nice 2H. Oh no. Yeah, don't snap here. You don't want to snap here just because like you don't get anything consistent anymore. And so like if he would have held back the entire time to delay his incoming as far as he could, then everything you do just wastes here and you let him out for free. Just take the knockdown on the character that you 2H'd. Yeah, you air blocked. So he's +4. Under normal circumstances, it's -2, but since you air blocked, it is +4, so you can't press there. That's a situation you're gonna have to, get used to recognizing. Coaching stuff, would I only do Dragon Ball or would I do Shot 2? Probably just Dragon Ball for now, just because. Yeah, probably just Dragon Ball for now. That might change though in the near future. I'm just not as I haven't been paying attention to Strive as much lately, especially with the new patch and shit. So I don't wanna do coaching for it until I make sure I'm up to speed on everything. Whoa, Commander. Oh, yeah. All right, Snake. Listen, man. Number one problem, right? You're a wiggler. You're a wiggler because I think you're uncomfortable in like 10 situations. It really feels like there's a lot of panic in this set. Like you're uncomfortable in situations where your opponent like approaches you and like forces a situation on you. You respond to it with panic and you kind of choose YOLO options, and it's getting you killed a lot. So like you got to keep in mind that like in fighting games there are going to be situations like this where your opponent is able to create a scenario that it might be in their favor. It might be severely in their favor, right? But the way to escape those situations is not by going crazy and choosing a YOLO option. The best way to deal with those situations is with patience and trying to dissect the situation bit by bit. Take it one piece at a time. Your opponent puts you in pressure, right? You should immediately be thinking, okay, what are my options here? So that if a window of opportunity presents itself, you can actually take advantage of it. If you're just thinking like, oh shit, I really don't want to be pressured, right? And you're like mashing 2H, or you're like pressing buttons, or stuff like that, you're going to choose really rash panic decisions, and you're going to get punished really hard for those things. Harder than just taking the pressure in the first place. Like a lot of people get punished harder for trying to escape the situation than they would have just blocking or defending in the first place. It's not always the case, but it happens quite a lot in this game because the game kind of feels like it incentivizes you to like just kind of do shit, right? But that's not the way that the game is actually played. And so I want you to take a deep breath, right? And just calm down. You gotta calm down in these situations. Just because you and your opponent are somewhere near each other on the screen does not mean you have to press something, right? I want you to focus more on your movement instead of I need to get the hit, I need to get the hit. That's what it feels right now. It feels like when a situation pops up between you and your opponent, you're always tunnel visioned on, okay, I need to hit him. And because of that, a lot of your movements and a lot of the the offensive pressure that you're going for is very predictable. It's very easy to be worked around. It's very easy to bait you as well, right? Because all I have to do is get somewhere near you and you're gonna press a button, and then I can just backdash and punish, or jump over it and punish, call an assist and punish, right? And so you need to be really careful about getting getting thrown into that trap of my opponent is near me and so I need to just mash something. Very bad habit to get into. Another thing, you rely a little bit too much on system mechanics to get your mix-up, and in the neutral for that matter. Like there's a lot of full screen super dash in this set. You gotta be really careful about that shit. You're gonna run into people that literally will look for nothing but these system mechanics, and that's because the game of Dragon Ball FighterZ is built around the system mechanics in the first place, and so they're very strong, potent options. And so if you're a player that cannot deal with the system mechanics in Dragon Ball FighterZ, you lose. You actually just lose. You can lose the system mechanics alone in this game, and it does happen to a lot of people. And so like you want to be really careful about it becoming a crutch, right? There are a lot of ways to move in this game, and so you don't want to get into a situation where you can only traverse the screen with super dash. There's plenty of options available to you. Dash jump plus assist is so broken in this game. They also made it easier to moon jump on people, right? You can also just stay on the ground and use grounded like dash movement. Dash block is really good. There's a lot of things that you can do, so don't fall into the trap of like, oh shit, I really want to get in, so I need to bet on this full screen super dash. And I want you to think about the mentality behind choosing certain options. So like there are a ton of situations where you chose an option and the option did not work out, and so you did something like vanish to try to save yourself. You got punished on the vanish, right? So instead of putting yourself in that situation and having to choose a very bad panic option to keep yourself safe, consider not making that initial decision in the first place, right? So like if you're pressing 5M, right, and it whiffs, and so you're mashing vanish to try to keep yourself safe after you whiff the 5M. What that says is that you need to 5M better, right? You need to not press 5M in that situation, or accept that once once your the option that you choose whiffs or it doesn't work out, then it's not your turn anymore. So the failure to recognize that it is no longer your turn is something that gets so many players killed in this game. So many players get killed for refusing to give up their turn where they just kind of have to, right? And it's not the end of the world to give up your turn at all. In fact, like on defense in this game, like you have so many options that you'll be okay. Like if an approach option doesn't work and it whiffs and your opponent gets a block string out of it, that means you still get to do something, right? You still get to play defense. But instead, if you're so bent on never giving up your turn that you're choosing these panic options, then well, that's where you give your opponent free punishes. You give your opponent, you know, free 2H's on your panic vanishes, and shit like that. And that's really important because like your opponent still has to execute. Like if your opponent has a mix-up they're going for on block, they still have to execute the mix-up, right? Make them work to hit you. Don't give them the free hit, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna get 2H and they have 2 assists available now to fucking bombo your ass. You're gonna lose 80%. You're gonna take a hard knockdown. It's gonna feel really bad, right? And so make your opponent work for the hit. Make sure you test them. See if their strings are guard cancel safe. You know, are they ready to answer guard cancel? Are they ready to answer guard cancel vanish? Are they ready to answer your flick? Right? Do they cover different tech options? Are you mixing up your tech options, switching between up tech, delay tech, back tech? Right? Are you testing your opponent to make it harder for them to get the hit? These are the things you want to consider instead of like refusing to give up your turn to the point where you're getting punished really hard on it. That'll make a huge difference in your defensive philosophy. Like a huge difference. And so I want you to think really hard on that. Consider, I would say consider running Broly A, instead, like you're running Broly C right now, and like just based on like how you're playing the game, like it's not doing a whole lot for you. Like I feel like you would rather have the full screen assist that you can call more often, because you're kind of having trouble, you know, in full screen engagements in the first place. And so like I would consider trying that assist instead. It might just be better for what you're given. Don't hesitate when you have a mix-up situation either. Just because your opponent blocks, so like there's some people that have this idea that like if your opponent blocked a mixer like a 50-50 or something, then that means like, oh well, now I gotta do the whack stuff. I gotta do the 6M and the DR and stuff. That's not actually true, especially in situations where you're sparked, right? Just because they block the first sparking 50-50 does not mean they're gonna block the second. So just run that shit. Just don't hesitate. If you have potent mix available to you, you can just run the mix. Don't like think like, oh, what if he blocks it again? So what if he blocked it again? You probably still get pressure after it anyway. So it doesn't even fucking matter if they end up blocking it again, because sometimes your opponent is just gonna guess right? That just happens. Sometimes your opponent just gets right. No matter how strong the mix-up is, your opponent sometimes is just gonna be correct on the guess. And so like that should not discourage you from running your mix-ups. Your mentality should be like, I'm gonna just keep running my mix-up until it hits, right? As long as you're still in advantage, of course. You don't want to overextend and shit like that. But like a block 50-50 does not mean that you stop doing the 50-50. Like that's not what that means. You keep running that shit, right? And that's why we even have these strong mixes in the first place. And the last thing is overextensions, right? And so like you want to think about the Dragon Ball at its core is a resource game. And so what you do in every situation is dependent on the resources available to you and your opponent. What do I mean by resources, right? So a lot of people, when I say the word resources, they automatically default to think I mean like meter, right? Meter is a resource, but it's not the only resource, and it's definitely not the most important. So meter, assists, right, are more important than meter. Jumps are also a resource, and the jump thing is something that a lot of people tend to not think about. What do I mean by jump resource? Well, you only get 2 jumps in this game at any given time. So every time you touch the ground and you decide to jump, you only get 2 jumps. You get a jump and a double jump. Your double jump can also function as an air dash if you want to, and shit like that. And so when you burn, when you're done burning the double jump or you're done air dashing, right, you can no longer change your air trajectory unless you choose a special move of some sort. Essentially, there's some exceptions, because there are characters with like double air dashes, but it's not every character. So And so like when your opponent spends these resources, their double jumps or their air dashes, right, it makes it really easy for you to predict where they're going to be. And conversely, it's really easy for your opponent to predict where you are going to be if you burn that resource. And so you want to constantly be thinking about these things in the neutral. If your opponent burns a double jump and they don't have a strong defensive assist, a lot of the time you can just go up and meet them because they can't change where they're going to be anymore. The most potent answer to any option is raw level 3. No, that's not true. Don't listen to that guy. Anyway, don't listen to that guy. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is what you choose to do in terms of offense, defense, anything in this game is dependent on those resources. So you want to constantly be keeping track of what your opponent has available. Do they have assist available? Do they have an extra jump to rely upon? Do they have meter? Because if they have 3 bars, maybe they might consider reversal level 3, right? You want to keep all these options in mind, right? Constantly be thinking, like, you at no point should you not have an idea of what your opponent's options are in a situation. Oh my god, bro. What the fuck is going on, man? This is crazy. But yeah, so and if you think harder about the resource game, it becomes a lot easier to deal with, you know, certain options. Like you got, you know, Goku EX elbowed a few times this set. Like that is much easier to deal with if you recognize that, okay, I have no assist to continue my pressure. My opponent does have an assist to cover just in case it doesn't hit, right? And so they are more incentivized to go for the reversal option in that scenario. And like, if you keep track of those situations, you'll be much better off as a whole. That's, you know, got some work to do, but it's okay. You're not so bad. You're not so far off, man. Just need some practice with some of these things.